I'll be back hopefully tomorrow whenever these come in. If they don't come in tomorrow, then it'll be the next day. But they should be here soon, and then we'll get that done, set up, put it in. See you then. Now it's time to put the intake into Shelly. Let's get started on that right now. So I got a bit of an issue. The adapter pieces that I just got are not gonna fit. I'll show you. So right now where I'm at is I think I have to cut the ends of these off. I think I can get them cut off nicely enough to where they are hard plastic, but I think I might be able to, as unsafe as it sounds, put a heat gun around it and then shove it onto the barb. And I think it'll work, at least for now. The big issue that I have with getting something is, well, here, I'll show you. This is all the other vehicles that I have to work with right now. I have no other vehicles to work with right now. To be able to do parts runs or anything like that, just because I don't. So I think I'm gonna do that just to get it running and driving, because there's another issue as well. There's another issue, and let's look at that. So the intake hose that was on it, or the intake piping, filter piping, whatever you want to call it, it was like just barely not big enough. So it's flexed out right here. So I actually had to end up putting some electrical tape just to hopefully seal it off enough so it doesn't run like absolute garbage, just so I could run to the parts store and get an actual intake for it. That's all I have to do, is just get a new intake for it, or an adapter for this, because this one's exactly 3 inches. And so I just got to get that running just to be able to, the parts store is literally a mile away, so I just have to get it running enough to get it to the parts store. Hopefully we can get it done. Well, I think we'll be able to get it done. Don't see why not, but let's work on it. Okay, so I mounted this. It's here for now. It's not gonna stay there, but it'll be okay there for now. I gotta connect the fuel line to the engine, and then I also have to connect the fuel line from the fuel pump and tank, and then the return line back to the tank, which I'm gonna have to cut it off. I'm going to cut it off right behind so it doesn't damage it, and hopefully that works. We'll see. Next thing I gotta do is I have to grind off the end of this, just to get it to fit into here. Just to get it to fit into, I don't know if you could see it, but the throttle body. It has to fit up into this upper one, and that doesn't have a hole all the way through, so I got to get that fixed. And then the next big issue that I have is I can't get this to come forward anymore. I might be able to get it to potentially, but I think I'm all out of room on there. So I'm gonna also extend this as well. I'm about to do something that's a little bit controversial, and here it is. Basically, I'm going to connect this white. Where did it go? I lost my plug. Hold on. I'm an idiot. I put it right where it's supposed to go. I did that to double check the length of it, so fun. So basically, controversial thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect this to this and this and this. They're all just signal wires, and I'm not disconnecting the entire length. It's the only reason I'm okay with it, is I'm not disconnecting the entire length. I'm only putting in about a 6-inch, 8-inch gap connector piece. So I think if I connect it, it'll be fine. But I'm gonna do that for all 3 wires in the same color. And that's the controversial part. By the way, I love this tool. If you do any sort of electrical work or anything like that, this is the tool you want. Something like it, at least. This is the cheap Harbor Freight version. So you know I love it. But they do sell some really nice ones out there, and I'm all for them. I've used them. I love them. I haven't had an issue with the Harbor Freight ones. That's the only reason I still use the Harbor Freight ones, is because I've never had an issue with them. But it just makes stripping wires so easy, crimping wires so easy, cutting wires so easy. Makes just life easy. Like if I were using a knife, I could get it done pretty quick. If I were using diagonal cutters, I could get it done pretty quick. But nothing does it as quite as quick as this. And there's just something about it that just makes it so much easier, nicer, everything. This is what I used on the fuel tank, on the fuel pump, putting that in. I use this for pretty much all the needs I have electrically. I say that as this one starts giving out, but I think this one just might be getting old. There it goes. I adjusted it by an accident. Here, I'll show you the difference. Watch the difference, okay? So we got this to this. Plugged in, crushed. I'll crush it a couple times just because I want to. Not that it needs to, but that's crushed a couple times. You can even use some of these ones that have the pressure piece on the center. That one, took me like 3 seconds to do. I usually do like one of a regular flat crush and then one of the pointed crush, just to get a little bit of extra crush in there. That one's done. Now watch this. I'm gonna use these now. So put the same thing on. Look at that. I can't even. half of this is me, but it's helping me prove my point. Ugh. And it's not even fully crushed. I can still move that in and out. I'm actually going to use this because I don't trust that. Just so much faster, so much easier. I love that. But that just goes to show, those are okay. If you need them, you can get them done. That, maybe I'm just lazy, I don't know. But I do, in fact, love these so much. Not even gonna lie, half the reason I'm using white is because I don't have any other wire at the house today. So I don't want to have to go get more, and I can't go get more, not until this is done. So just got to get that done, and then should be all set. Which we're 90% of the way done, at least, which is nice. This will be getting us to about 95%. Grinding the throttle, we'll just make sure it won't come off. It'll work as is. I just don't want it to work as is, so I'm gonna change it as is. So we'll see. We will see. So fast. Now onto the truck side. Ground it down just a little bit. Look at it. Woo. We're gonna see if that'll fit right in there. Well, it fit. So now I just gotta hook this bad boy up right here, and I think we'll be all set. Okay. There might be a little bit of wiggle on it, but not enough to actually make a difference. But now we have the throttle. Last but not least, let's hook up the fuel. Now I have to do the scariest part of the whole thing. Cut off my fuel lines. I'm so scared about it, honestly. Cause, well, I guess I'm not. Let me rephrase that. I'm not. They're flexible enough to where I think I can get them over, and I'm gonna cut them off right here. So it's just gonna shorten the line just ever so slightly. And I don't want to, you know, cut them back and change to soft hose, soft fuel line. Because the connector for it is right here. I don't know if you can see that. That's a hard bridge to the fuel line. I'd have to disconnect all this and find adapters for that, and it'd be a pain. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do the easy route for now and do the harder route if I have to. Now I'm gonna have to do something that I really don't want to do. Apply heat. These aren't gonna fit with the heat that I have on it. So, well, yeah, with the heat that's on it. They're stiff enough to where they won't fit around. So I have to apply some heat and hope for the best. I think it'll work though. We'll see. I have fire extinguishers and everything ready just in case. Wish me luck. Well, the fiance got home, so I was able to get this, the adapter I needed, this, the adapter I needed, and this, the fuel hose that'll make it all work. So I tried to get this melted open just a little bit with the heat gun. Whenever I started doing it, it started ripping, so I couldn't do that anymore. So we're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna try to fix it the correct way. So watch me do that now. Boom. Okay, so I got it all in. I need to adjust this first. I still need to adjust this, but I want to check for leaks on this first, because that's going to be more of a headache checking that and chasing that down anyways. So let's check that out and we'll be right back at it. So I'm going to hook you guys up. You guys keep an eye out. Let me know if there's any leaks. There was a leak. That's all gas from like the 3 seconds I had it on. But I don't know. Bet you it's leaking out of the injectors. Looks like it. Okay. Let's do that again. Let me fix that. Let's do that again. So we had a late night last night. That leak was not just a leak, it was leaking out of every single injector, and that sucks because it was because of the fuel rail. So I had a late night trying to get it working a couple times. I tried a couple different things, sucked, didn't work. But I had to get the truck running today because we're going out of town today. It's been a minute for me, but not a minute for you. It's been about 10 seconds, but we got the fuel rail in. We got the new fuel rail in that actually has the angled slots in it. That's what we needed. But a little bit more news. There was slight issue, not a big issue, but I noticed I was also losing power in the truck. I checked some of the codes. I always have a check engine light on, but that's because the original engine. It's because the original engine isn't in it. So, but I saw another code and it was NOx sensors. So I just got those in as well. And so I was kind of waiting on that to kind of continue the project from my end. Here's an addition to this is whenever we have the intake off, we're just gonna change out the NOx sensors as well, since we're already gonna be in there. So I'm just gonna finish tearing this apart. You guys are gonna see it whenever it's done. I'm gonna show you the new NOx sensors, and we're gonna put the new intake back on. Another update is I was having a lot of rough idling because of not having a tune in the truck, but having 80-pound injectors, and that causes a lot of issues. Too much gas, not enough air, not tuned right, yada yada. So now what I'm going to do is leave the stock injectors in until I can get a tune for it, or tune it myself. I might make a video of me tuning it myself and then change the injectors. Otherwise I might just bring it to the tuning shop and change out the injectors right then and there, and then just have him throw a tune on it. Either way, it's all going to be the same in the grand scheme of things, but let's see if the NOx sensors will help increase the power, because I think it's the timing is throwing the timing off a little bit, and let's see how good this intake fits. So let's get to it again. Okay, so I set it up last time whenever I had to put it back together to take it apart quick, and that's what I did. It's all apart. It's pretty clean. If you couldn't tell, it's pretty clean. But now I'm just gonna take these off for the NOx sensors, take them out, replace them, and we'll put the new ones in and start putting the new intake on, and hopefully it fits this time. I was looking at something. I may need to adjust these brackets. These are the brackets that connect it to the actual intake, but they might be set up for a different style injector. Well, the injector that I want to be putting on, or I will be putting on, those ones might be the correct height, which it seems like they are the correct height for this. However, with that being said, the original injectors are about half that height, so they're about this tall. But we may have an issue there. I might be able to flip the bracket to where it'll sit lower down on it, and it might work fine. Otherwise, we're gonna have to use a different mounting system, and that's okay. We'll use kind of like the same mounting system that we used for the other one, and it should be fine. We'll just have to play by ear, really. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Otherwise, we may be throwing a tune on this today. I don't know, but at least we'll be able to put these in. No big deal. NOx sensors, and go from there. Came with, for two NOx sensors. It was a $20 kit for two NOx sensors and a little wiring harness piece that goes to it. So, and for the little wiring harness piece that goes to it. So it's a pretty good deal in my opinion. We just gotta take out the old ones, put in the new, and we'll look at how fresh and clean these look as soon as they're in. I think that may have been half the issue. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's old and crusty. What can you do? Okay, now you tell me which one is the old one and which one's the new one. That's crazy. So nasty. Alright, we're gonna put these ones in, hook it all up, and we'll look at it. Yes, I know it's disgusting and dirty in here, but I also don't want to risk putting a whole lot of junk into my intake. So I'm sure I'll be pulling this apart at some point. So whenever I do that, it's kind of whenever I plan on doing the rest. Here we go. And that's how easy it is to change NOx sensors
on an LS engine. Bing bong. So we will have to be going with a different attachment style. It's okay, I was kind of assuming that anyways, but Bechtold reliable. Okay, so we did get it finished up. We actually had to move it out here. Moved it out here so I could do an initial test run, all that stuff. Had a little bit of a leaky injector, but it was just one of the seals. We changed that out, or I guess I changed that out. No big deal, just fix that right now. But let's take a look at the finished product. Now, this needs to be attached, but no big deal. This is not fitting, the intake isn't fitting too well. It's okay, no big deal. It's still there. So, we gotta fix that, and then, I can't think of the name. It's the thing that regulates, it's a fuel regulator. Yeah, it's a fuel regulator. It's the thing that regulates fuel. But yeah, it's just not connected, but it's secure in there, so I'm not too worried about it. So, ugh. So I'm gonna go test drive this again. But that's it for today. So if you liked the video, please subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell me what you did like, what you didn't like, what I can do better, what I can do worse. And I think we're gonna have a couple more driving videos now that we're getting some of the upgrades rounded out. And then we can do a couple more of the driving videos. I know I got a couple events coming up that I'm trying to do. So let's see where this takes us. Bye.